Sometimes your favorite series just have a run of games that you just love. These games share something unique amongst them, and over the course of the series' evolution, it loses that unique something in order to try new things. One of those series, for me, is Pokemon. While I love the later games in the series, most of them, I adore the run of Pokemon games that include Diamond, Pearl, Platinum, Black and White 1, and Black and White 2. Essentially, Gen 4 and Gen 5. It was a special time that I didn't know I would be longing for much later in the life of the series. Enter Nexomon, which has nothing to do with the Pokemon series, but instead emulates it with its own spin. Specifically, it encapsulates that Gen 4 and Gen 5 experience so well that upon starting it and playing for an hour or two, I immediately got that nostalgia wave, and I was right back to playing some of my favorite games. Except now there are new mons to capture and a new subversive story. To make a long intro short, I loved playing this game. I think it may not be a unique premise, but it sure as hell did that premise very well. It captured something I was longing for, and not just because it's a monster capturing RPG, but also its Platinum Trophy run. This is what I imagine getting a Platinum Trophy for a Pokemon game was going to be like, and we are going to cover all of the game's whopping 63 trophies, the most we have seen in a Platinum Hunters episode. But hey, you gotta catch them all if you want the Platinum Trophy. This is Platinum Hunters, the show where we take a look at everything it takes to get the Platinum Trophy and whether it's worth the effort to achieve it. Definitely, after this video, take a look at some of the trophy guides that I have created this year. I'm trying to hit the 40 mark by the end of the year, so that means there are 40 plus guides you can jump in and get those Platinum trophies. Definitely subscribe to the channel for more trophy guide videos just like this one and those other 39, because you might just find your next Platinum Trophy. This Platinum journey to be the best like no one ever was has quite a few steps and challenges along the way. The first thing you will need to do is build up your team, take on the Overseers, then take on the game's champions that will lead to squaring off against your ultimate opponent, the Nexolord. This story sounds very familiar, but trust me, it's actually a subversive take on the familiar story structure that you're probably used to if you play Pokemon. Then, step 2 is to finish the endgame chapter after you've completed the main tale. While doing both of these steps, you'll have to fight all the Tamers that will fight you along the routes, and participate in a total of 500 battles. Here comes the fun part. The last step is to capture all 300 different Nexomon species found in the game. Scratch that. All 310 Nexomon species in the game, including the legendary Nexomon that you can find and capture for your team. Yep, you got a national dex this bitch to get the Platinum Trophy. Love to see that. Before we embark on our Platinum adventure and choose our starter Nexomon, note that this game can be played on either the PS4 version or the PS5 version for 2 separate plats, but there's no save transfer feature, so you'll have to play it twice if you want both. I will have more helpful guides in the description below to help you out, especially when it comes to finding and capturing all 310 Nexomon. In terms of spoilers, I'm only going to be covering what will get us through the trophy guide, and I definitely won't be spoiling any major plot points, but I'm issuing a spoiler warning right here. Your journey starts when you pick up your starter Nexomon. Upon picking one of the 7 different starters, you'll get your first trophy called Nexomon Tamer. And yes, of course I picked the fire skunk because it's a skunk that spits fire. How much more do I need to explain myself? The other starters are really cool though too, and I wish I had them at the beginning of the game, but of course you can pick them up later in your journey and enjoy them just as much as your first one. Then you'll battle with your newly acquired partner and have your first battle against this low-level grunt. I really like the speed of the battles in Nexomon, even though it's a much dumbed down and simpler battle system. There are only 7 typings and you'll always attack first, but the pace of the game is really good. Then the last tutorial part before you're free to do whatever you like is capturing your first wild Nexomon. Throw a Nexotrap and capture your next ally for the trophy, First Capture. Now you are acclimatized to what you'll be doing in this game, and it's time to complete the main story. There are a total of 14 unmissable story trophies to collect for the adventure. The trophies are pretty on the nose with their names, so I'm not going to spoil them by revealing them. You'll face off against overseers, who you can think of as gym leaders, and then champions who can think of as Elite Four bosses. This is a subversive take on the familiar adventure, so motivations will all be different this time and surprise you. At the very top is the Nexo Lord, who you'll meet right at the beginning of the game and the person you'll be gunning for throughout this adventure. I need to get something out of the way. How does our hero not know about the big ass doom spelling machine right in his basement? Like he doesn't go down there? Or his scientist parents forbid it and he just doesn't go? I don't get it. But this game is pretty meta and breaks the fourth wall, so I guess that's part of the package. But clap some overseers, bash some champions, and see the story to the end. In the process of completing the story, you will need to battle and defeat all Tamers located on the routes. These are the Tamers that will challenge you to a battle and have the punching glove symbols above their head. They are all located on the routes between cities, so just make sure you explore every route so you can get them all. There are 33 of them, and you will know you've beaten them all when the trophy pops while you're in the frozen tundra. This is the last major place you go to before the story finale. You will also get a trophy for beating your 1st, 10th, and 20th Tamer. Now, the Defeat All Tamers trophy is the only missable trophy in the game, and it's thanks to one Tamer that disappears after you finish the story. This Tamer is located at the very beginning of your journey on one of the routes in Param. If you're going to avoid and skip Tamer fights, make sure you battle this one, because if you beat the game without fighting him, you're going to have to start a new save file to get this trophy. And that's gonna suck big time to restart for just one trophy. Just get it out of the way and grab your trophies so you can continue on your merry way. On top of defeating all 33 Tamers, you should also be working on the trophy Win 500 Battles. This large number of battles is something you'll have to grind out over time. There are also similar trophies at the 100, 200, 300, and 400 marks. Battles are not just relegated to fighting Tamers or the story characters. If you encounter a wild Nexomon and KO it, that will count as one battle won. So level grinding your team is a great opportunity to collect some of these wins. The only time it won't count is if you capture the Nexomon with a trap. Otherwise, every other encounter you prevail in will count towards getting these trophies. Seeing as this is a monster capturing RPG, of course there are going to be a ton of trophies given to us for capturing a certain amount of mons. We will be aiming to capture all 310 Nexomon in this platinum run and fill up all the slots in the database. For newcomers, you don't need to have one of every Nexomon in your storage, and if you own the Nexomon at least once, then that is good enough to check that creature off your list. So you can get the first form and evolve it to its last form, and that will clear off the whole evolution tree in your database. Along with the last trophy at the 310 milestone, you will get all of these trophies on screen now. For reasons we will get into later in the guide, you won't be able to get 310 during the main story, even if you try to grind it out. So I recommend just capturing as many Nexomon as you can while piloting through the main plot. That way you will have less work to do later in the post-game. There are many awesome creatures to find and be surprised by, and you're going to build your team around the ones you like and the ones that fill the elemental gap in your team. Once you are completely settled with your roster of 6, then you're going to want to level them up so you can beat the game and grab these 3 trophies. First, you'll get the level 30 plus trophy halfway through the adventure when you either catch or level up a Mon to level 30 or higher. Then you'll do the same for the level 60 plus trophy, nearing the high stakes finale. Then there's one more trophy for level 99 plus, and believe it or not, Nexomon levels in this game can go higher than 100, which is pretty cool to see. If you still have a favorite Nexomon you want to use, it's not wasted XP to use them in battle. Level 99 is pretty much guaranteed when you're in the post game, unless you really want to level up one guy right now before the story is done. But it's gonna be a grind, so I don't recommend it. I've mentioned it about 100 times already in this guide, so I think it's time to move on to the post game and see what happens after the credits roll. Again, I won't be spoiling any of the major plot points and instead using enough information just to cover the trophies. But I'm issuing another spoiler warning here just in case. With my ass thoroughly covered, let's continue with the Mon capping festivities. The post-game chapter sees our hero taking a trip to the Netherworld, which is located through a portal inside the basement of your player's house. Again, does he not go down there? Like, not even curious? No? Anyways, you'll get the trophy, enter the Netherworld when you step foot inside this mysterious plane. There will be 6 more unmissable story trophies you will get just by playing through the rest of the Netherworld chapter. New mysterious entities called Wardens have appeared to thwart your progression through this realm. It's a strong endgame story that continues to subvert the familiar formula and also have fun with it. When you're traveling through this mysterious world, you will find these rainbow colored gems called Nexomite Fragments. You'll need them for the trophy, collect all Nexomite Fragments, and there are 41 of these to find. The first 40 of them are all found inside of the Netherworld across all of the routes found here. And then the last one has to be found when you finish the endgame story chapter, and it's found inside a locked house in the frozen tundra part of the main map. During the story, you receive a key that isn't alluded to for the rest of the game until you travel up to this specific house and use it to unlock it. Once you find the last fragment inside the house, you'll get the trophy. The last thing you need to know about this part of the guide is Reborn Nexomon. These types of Nexomon are exclusive to the Netherworld region and will have a star next to their name. They are much stronger than regular Nexomon and have heightened base stats. So like the level 30, 60, and 99 trophies, you will have to do the same, but now with the Reborn Nexomon. These are the trophies you'll be getting on screen now. To progress through the Netherworld, you will have to let Miriam rebirth your Nexomon, which will revert them back to their base forms and back to level 10. Your team has to only consist of reborn Nexomon to progress. It seems like you're starting over, but the encounters in the Nexoworld scale to your Nexomon level and you gain way more XP. So by the end of the Netherworld chapter, your Nexomon will be even higher level than when you finish the main plot. So it's completely okay to reborn all your team so long as they are level 60 or higher. What's awesome is that it will auto pop the level 99 plus trophy in the process, so you don't even have to grind that trophy. If you want to make a fresh team, now is a good opportunity to do that. Just take one reborn with you and catch the rest as you play through the chapter. By the end of the chapter and into the post game, just keep leveling your reborn Pokemon till you collect all 3 trophies. With the Netherworld story done, now it's time to go out and capture them all. We can now effectively aim for the collect all 310 Nexomon trophy, which includes finally being able to go after all the legendary Nexomon. If you're collecting all the Nexomite fragments as you played through the Netherworld, it's about to become real handy now. Fast travel to the frozen tundra, grab that 41st fragment like we mentioned earlier, and then bring them all back to Miriam in Param. She will construct a legendary radar for you, which is going to make finding the legendaries really easy. While roaming around, the radar will appear on the screen telling you there's a legendary nearby, meaning there's one in a shaking grass patch close by. This even works in caves and areas where you can randomly encounter Nexomon. So using this radar, we can look for Omnicron and his children and get these trophies on screen now. Luhava, Fauna, Grunda, Arqua, and Meta will all appear randomly on the map, and you just have to wait for the radar to tell you they're there on the screen. The best way to collect all these quickly is to find 2 screens that have grass patches and keep going back and forth between them until the radar prompt appears. Then you can capture them using a golden Nexotrap to make this much easier. If you are using regular Nexotraps and you accidentally defeat them, that's okay. The legendary will eventually spawn again and you won't be locked out of the plat because you mangled one. In fact, you can capture multiple versions of each legendary, so don't worry too much. Just for reference, you can also find the legendaries without the radar, but there's gonna be way more RNG involved, so just use the radar to your advantage. Once you collect those 5 legendaries I mentioned earlier, Nara and Omnicron will start roaming the map and you can track them down. I actually caught Omnicron twice before I encountered Nara, so it appears all of them have different spawn rates. Some of these 7 legendaries were stubborn to spawn, but just keep walking back and forth between the screens and they will eventually spawn. You don't need to do anything more than that. That's only about half the legendaries we have to catch. Remember the Wardens? Now is our chance to collect them as well, but doing this is very different. Now the Wardens roam the lands as fragmented ethereal spirits, and each one has 10 fragments aside from Zygler, who has 5. But we will worry about Zygler last, as you have to worry about the other 6 first in order for him to start spawning. You will get these capture trophies on screen in the process. What you'll have to do is find and battle all 10 fragments of each Warden, giving you a total of 60 to find, scattered everywhere across the main world. They will be hiding literally everywhere, including cities, towns, routes, caves, people's houses, boss areas, the Nexomon centers, and even inside of shop. They could be literally anywhere, so you have to be thorough when you're looking for them. Start at your house in Param and keep revisiting the places along your journey to find all of these fights. I have a complete location guide for all of the Wardens in the description below, just in case you missed some. It's also a good time to find Nexomon that you're missing and start filling out the Nexomon database. Once you defeat all 10 of any of these Wardens, instead of having to find the legendary in the wild, you will just be rewarded the legendary, and it will be plopped right in your storage box. That's sweet! Having them put in your storage box is considered capturing it. So beat all 10 battles for each Warden and claim all 6 legendaries. Now don't panic when the trophies don't pop after they have hit the storage box. Just save and quit and then load back into the game. The trophies will then pop. It's a weird oddity with the way the trophies work, but they are not glitched, and that's a beautiful thing. Thank the Lord. Now that we have all 6 legendaries claimed, you can find the 5 Warden fragments for Zygler, in which they are hidden across the map in the same fashion. Zygler doesn't have his own trophy, but you will still need him for the database and the 310 Nexomon trophy. Beat all 5 fights and Zygler will be dropped right in your storage box. There is one more legendary that works differently from the rest. Luhava doesn't have his own trophy and the radar won't help you find it. You just have to be really lucky and have it spawn in front of you. I found it while in the Netherworld cruising through the story, so it's one of those Nexomon that will surprise you. If he hasn't popped up for you yet, just keep completing the database, as this will increase the likelihood of Luhava appearing. Hit it with a golden Nexotrap and Luhava is yours. Hooray! Now you have all of the legendary Nexomon. All that's left to do for this guide is to fill out the rest of the database by owning all of the Nexomon in the game. I've got a few tips on how you can accomplish this, but first, let me know you have made it this far into the video and if I've captured your attention by hitting that like button. That like button is like a golden trap that helps me capture the YouTube algorithm. Except it's going in the storage box because I ain't putting that on my team. So at this point, if you take a look at your database, you're going to be missing a few of the non-evolving Nexomon. Maybe a few final forms, but the majority of what you'll be missing are the first forms. Now one option is to track down your missing Nexomon in the locations that they appear. I have a really great guide below outlining all the Nexomon you can find in certain areas and their rarity. It will be RNG based, but that could work with enough perseverance. You can do this in combination with this next method that can also help speed things up. If you've captured a ton of fully evolved Nexomon in the late game, there's no breeding in this game to easily get the first form. But you can use the Reborn Nexomon feature to revert them back to their first form and catalog them in the database. Evolution doesn't work backwards, so this method seriously works well and sped up my collecting process. The only restrictions to doing this is that A, they can't be Reborn Nexomon already, and B, you can only use this feature on Nexomon that are level 60 or higher. So if they are under level, you will have to do some grinding to get their level up to par. But even with the level grinding, this process still helped me collect all 310 Nexomon much faster than searching for each Nexomon in the grass. Use the Reborn feature to help you gain access to the smaller forms and help you fill out the database. And after you've obtained your very last Nexomon for the decks, you will be done with your Platinum run. That was quite the adventure, where you definitely made some incredible partners that can shoot various elements, and partners that have weird names made of puns and portmanteaus. But if you've captured every Nexomon, defeated every Tamer, Overseer, Champion, Warden, and the Nexolord, and collected all the trophies, congratulations! You will be awarded the Nexomon Platinum Trophy for Nexomon. Really? The plat is just called Nexomon, not Nexomon Master or the very best that no one ever was? They could have been a little more clever, but oh well. Overall, I really enjoyed getting this Platinum Trophy for this game, as it completely represents what I thought getting a Platinum Trophy for a Pokemon game would be like. Throughout this guide, I kept making references back to Pokemon, but Nexomon actually stands incredibly well on its own despite not being as deep as its inspiration. Nexomon did a great job taking me back to the Nintendo DS era of Pokemon games, which I greatly enjoyed, and I appreciate the nostalgia trip that this game was. This is an easy recommendation if you enjoy monster capturing RPGs and getting a plat that won't have an incredible amount of RNG, despite the fact that most games in its genre do. Our Nexomon adventure is not over yet, as this game has a sequel called Nexomon Extinction. I took a very small peek, and it looks like we have a much deeper game and a more difficult platinum run ahead of us, and I'm here for it. But don't skip this one, and enjoy this game for what it is, an excellent twist on a familiar game and a familiar genre. That's all for this guide and this game. I think I got one more trophy guide in me this year, and I don't know what it's gonna be. I'm thinking about it. Maybe you guys have some ideas, but I'm thinking about what it's gonna be, and then we'll hit the ground running in January with some big trophy guides. But I'll also have a couple of videos here and there in between in the month of December, so definitely subscribe to the channel for more trophy content just like this. I hope all your trophy hunting expeditions go incredibly well, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.